poetry. These poets have worked so very hard to, as they always do every year, to bring us the very best of Oregon and the very best of themselves in our beloved tradition of sharing stories and thoughts and emotions and vulnerabilities and lives through poetry. So we are going to hand out the prizes to say thank you in that way, and then we're going to listen to them read their poems and any others they have to share to say thank you in that way for all of the work they have done. Okay, we had 2 categories for this contest. We had the youth and the adults. And so tonight with us, we have a couple of our youth winners, one of whom was unable to make it. So we have the full list of all the poets and their winning works available in the Source Weekly, which is available on the back table there. So grab a copy on your way out. You have to see these works in print and cut them out and paste them up on, frame them. I know you do that. So grab your copy at the back, and then we are going to listen to them read. So tonight we have first Maya Andrick, who plays second place for her winning poem, Terrifying. All right. And Murphy Buchanan, first place winner for his poem, Forest. An honorable mention for the adult category, who's not with us, but I have him written down because he couldn't quite get over that hill, so we're going to give him a shout out here. Trevor Spangle's honorable mention, These Darker Mornings. So thank you, Trevor, for your winning work. All right, please welcome Ben Ward, third place adult winner, Aspens at Dusk. Garza placed second place for She Appears to Be Haunted. And please, huge round of applause for our first place adult winner, Broderick Eaton, winning poem Still Point in mariupol. Thank you, everyone. These are incredible works. I can't wait to hear them. And after we hear those winning poems be heard aloud, we invite you to step up to the mic. This one, you, right there, up here. This is our open mic. We do this every third Thursday, once every month, or every other month with the High Desert Music Hall. Shout out to them for this beautiful venue. If you would like to join in our open mics more often, we do host one every month, and we host them here and in Bend. We would love to hear you. We have a whole host of writing programs and reading programs and wonderful programs available at your Deschutes Public Library, and you can find out all about those in this event guide available on the back table out in the lobby. You can find all of this information online too at deschuteslibrary.org, but everything is free, open to the public, and we would love to see you again here. So please, I invite you to sign up for the open mic. I'll have it in the back all night, and let's go ahead, get this started, and welcome our very first poet, Maya Andrick, with her poem, Terrifying. Please welcome Myra to the stage.
Hey miss, could you magically make my test in 5th period go away? I've been up all night studying, and I'm scared the information is seeping out of my brain. All those government terms shuffling farther back into the recesses of my mind, they're about to go out the door. I try to hold on to the Articles of Confederation and the Supremacy Clause, but their meanings seem to be losing their grip. It's terrifying. It's terrifying to try to hold on to something when you know it's slipping away. There's nothing you can do to stop it from leaving. The feeling of forgetting information, the feeling of watching someone leave you, it's terrifying. We do our best to fight it. We study for tests trying to lock in information. We continue to reach out and do whatever they need to try and make our people stay, but still they leave. breaking away from us like shards of glass. It's terrifying. We grip as hard as we can to words in a textbook. We hug our people, praying that they will stay, yet still they slip away. Failing tests, connection severed, it's terrifying. You can't undo the F you got. You can't go back and tell them you love them. It's too late, and it's absolutely terrifying.
Buchanan, first place youth winner with his poem Forests. Come on up, Murphy.
Forest by Murphy Buchanan. Roots covered in moss, huge trees towering above, rays of sunlight push through leaves, allowing flowers to grow. I hear the rushing sound of a nearby waterfall cascading downstream. Leaves land on me as I am filled with joy and comfort. How do leaves fall? Green, green, green.
Thank you, Murphy. Congratulations again to these young poets. I'm sure we're going to see them a lot more for a lot more years on this stage and bigger ones. So one more round of applause for our young poets. Okay, up next we have Ben Ward. Ben, come on up.
Is this good? Okay. Thanks, Paige. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ben Ward. And just yesterday, I was remembering a bit about my childhood. I grew up, my mother is a poet and a writer, and my grandfather was a poet and a writer. And I had this flashback to nights at Hot Brew with characters like Jeremiah Raven and Craig Steiger and Heidi the Red Wakefield, who is also my mother. And that was just a really rich and informative time for me, and I feel grateful to be able to be here in person, sharing some of these poems and thoughts. So I hope you enjoy. This first poem is called The Delusions We Employ While Not Waking. Such is the madness of sleep. The dawning yawn drawing a blackness hole in which my skull descends, its own oblivion wandering about in tempered brain juices, where the swirls of dreams grant both respite and terrors of night, that forceful quiet imposed onto self, except when wanted. Growing, flowing stream enlivens the nerves to disturbance for the down, 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 and swallowing sleepness, overcoming awakeness upon hypnotic plane. Such is the madness of sleep. The resemblance of gentle whisper and arousing pleasantries, but it may be horrors as such, real and vivid, visceral, vacating, vesicular brain vagrants and nakedness writhing beneath, of murders with wings on rainbows, arcing lightning bolts of realization, subtly dramatic electric ochre confusion, yet rapidly vapid. Such dreams not of ambition, but delusions so honest. Such is the madness of sleep. The curling, twirling, furling wisp of something, a glimmer of somethingness, and yet notness, which seeks exalted significance even as it peels and skins away from knowing, framed frowns on cranium's walls, cerebrum sauce on internal screens displayed, but viewed from further inside until what's out is outside, in the inside to the nth degree infinitum, wicking stupidity away from irritated eyeballs of some realism and also growth, but always death, and now beginning, such is the madness of sleep. I hope you have nightmares tonight. Sorry. Nice dreams with daisies and fairies. Sometimes those are scary too, I don't know. Okay, this is the poem that is in the source. It's called Aspens at Dusk. And I should say this is a friend of mine and I were working on a collaboration where we were both writing, we weren't working on a poem together, but we were writing the same subject matter. So the subject matter was trees at night. And so this is Aspens at Dusk. Unlike me, who bundles at close of day and braces for winter's blast, you drop all color, garb, and flash, assuming naked stance where vulnerable arms reach and pause the space between light and dark, dividing time ending, time beginning. Revealing complexity, your river delta of wood, suspended against gray cloud, now briefly sensual, pink, and erotic, entangled with yourself, you await the gaze of constellations so ancient, which pierced every exposed part of your body, all your secrets decaying into mud, having fallen for these moments, this cycle dependent on the glorious, exploding mundane of sun, and you swirling around on a spinning blue thought bubble in dark of space, now dim, but still bright. I wonder if I too should shed my brown leaves and stand with you naked, skin and mind, tender to winds and wonders of night. And this will be my final poem. It's called Manifesto, Edicts to Myself and Possibly Others. For as long as you can, keep splitting wood by hand. Reciprocate with gifts of the soil by sweating into it. Endear yourself to suffering, for joy is known once hardship is embraced. Emerge from your warm slumber in dark of winter and whiz outside. Feel the grip of cold on frozen pecker, teaching you aliveness and rush of blood upon denward scurry. Chuckle at the absurdity of yourself. As Neruda says, laughter is immeasurable. Laughter protects and endears. Laughter will make it worthwhile. Enjoy the conveniences of life which come your way, but do not seek them out lest they own you. Instead, cherish that which makes you retreat. Let uneasiness be salt in your wounded ego. Indulge the sensuality of sunset and remark at the quiet triumph of sunrise, whose singing light floods your mind and pools turquoise, a sweet well to drink from. Resist the alluring but maniac urge to drive. Walk quietly and without ambition. Acknowledge the minds of tree, jay, falcon, fungi. Realize your own brand of consciousness is not ultimate. Be on a first-name basis with your bird neighbors, and for fuck's sake, write letters and mail them. Remain tethered to that which swells your chest and roots deeply in mind. Work your art, art your work. As Thich Nhat Hanh says, be flower fresh. When beauty looks deeply into your eyes, cease activities and gaze back. Trust your feelings, but perhaps not too much, so trust them nonetheless. There's no knowing the future. I promise you never will, though we try. So do as Vimala says and write as beautifully as you can. There is a thread to all of it, which needles through light and dark, seen and unseen. So be your wild child self. Dance when so elected by the energies, and ruminate as contemplation compels. Yes, you are an ironic SOE such as it is. Find places where the glory is as absorbing as an earthquake, where you peacefully breathe your last. Commit to dying and reciprocating your atoms to another entity, perhaps a lizard, or a bird, or a diatom. Stop complaining about things that don't matter. Reconsider what matters. Eat sourdough, drink beer, drink tea, drink milk, whatever. Smoke grass, be a monk, whatever. Just don't knock it till you try it. Be a person of place. Be a stone half buried in forest soil, quietly observing and eternally patient. Learn deeply of yourself and surroundings. Come to knowledge with passion, and when you arrive, remember that you are wholly ignorant of quasars, tardigrades, vagaries of love, or how it is you even exist. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Okay, up next we have Garza, second place winner, with her winning poem, She Appears to Be Haunted.
I got my docs on. She appears to be short. Okay. Is that it? Is that good for you? Do you like that? Okay. I'd love some disco lights while I talk about my dead mom, if that's okay. Okay. So the poem I submitted was required to be, hello, I'm Amma. The poem I submitted was required to be 30 lines long, so I cut it short, so I'm going to read the full one. Okay. Shame is such a funny thing. Someone says something to you once, and you do the rest of the work. Pointing to my breast, she asks, you know what they used to call those when I was in school? Mosquito bites. The ghost of my mother is kind of a bitch. Books float across the room to be placed upon the crown of my head, so my spine will straighten and I will walk as she wishes me to. The mug I grasp will shake, threatening to slip from my fingers as I hear a whisper, coffee stains your teeth. Shame is such a funny thing. Someone says something to you once, and you do the rest of the work. My nails dig grooves into my scalp, and the bottle clatters to the base of the tub. Back from the dead, back from the urn which holds her ashes, back from my mind where I hold her in my memories, she urges me to condition my split ends. As I stare into the mirror, she raises a bloodless finger to my lips and says, these are mine, and traces a line to my ear and says, these too. But when her finger drags to my nose, she says matter-of-factly, that is your father's. I lie in bed wishing for rattling chains and creaking floors. Instead, cold breath smelling of earth and vanilla accosts me. Why are you still single? In my nightmares, she is alive, a rosy glow to her cheeks, her hair like spun gold. When I wake, her bones leave imprints on my thighs, and I disentangle myself from femurs and ulnas to check my phone. A voice like dead leaves branches out. Why didn't you call me more? Shame is such a funny thing. Someone says something to you once, and you do the rest of the work. I walk through her floating form to escape her questions, dressing with her hollow eyes scrutinizing my exposed waist. I walk outside and I feel all things alive, warm and humming across my body. And the upstairs window, like an apparition flickering, she appears to be haunted. I wave and call, are you coming? Her silhouette flickers, perhaps a smile across her lipless mouth. Shame is such a funny thing. Someone says something to you once, and you do the rest of the work. is the last thing you are trying to recover? I was born with hands on my mother's back, pushing to ensure she didn't asphyxiate, a butter knife in hand to smooth the jelly that sticks to my brother's gums, my first outfit and apron screaming, "Is there anything else I can get you?" as I entered into this world. I thought men would be my ticket out, my path to freedom and escape from the walls of my childhood home, a reprieve from the tables that waited on me to wait on them, but no. Just no. I don't want to talk about that. The last thing I am trying to recover took me 1,000 miles away from the beds I occupied, from the watchful eyes of the bar flies, from brothers towering over me and a mother glowering beneath us. Straight into a metal-mirrored bathroom, dull scissors in hand, every inch of my long hair painting the insides of the sink until finally I became. Maybe caregiving is control, and the last thing I am trying to recover scatters like ashes in the wind, pulling my shedding skin with each breeze. Perhaps the last thing is trying to recover me, and I am unrecognizable without my service smile and needless body. I think of those sheets of metal, hungry for the ends of my hair, with nothing left for them to bite their teeth into, and the lost thing gets stuck in the drain, but I am still. Thank you.
Our first place winner in the adult category, Broderick Eaton, with her winning poem, Still Point in Mariupol.
Thank you so much. This is particularly sweet because I think the only reason I stand here at all is because a few years ago, I was standing in the Looney Bean waiting for a coffee, and I saw on the bulletin board a poster that the Source Weekly was offering its first poetry contest. I had just gotten back into writing after 20 years of not writing at all. And I thought, oh, a nice little contest locally would be a great place to start. And I had no idea the quality of poets, the number of entries, and if I had known that ahead of time, I would have been daunted and probably would not have entered. So I'm really pleased to have the youth category happening and kids submitting such amazing work, because you guys are 40 years ahead of where I was. So thank you so much for participating, and thank you especially to the Source for doing this, because a lot has happened since that first contest, that first yes. Still Point in Mariupol. Young mama places her infant in a quiet closet before picking up the rifle, before watching her son palm his dead father's pistol in his dimpled hand. Though her own eyes have never seen soldiers invade like this, her body knows. The flesh remembers she is both cost and prize. She is the deer cornered by tongues of wolves, by slavering death, there and there and there and there, who, in the face of her own destruction, stops being a mother, stops thinking of herself, and sees only that none of them will survive if she does not choose, in this moment, to become more than the teeth coming, more than the fear. She must envision her children alive and her body unmarred, her rage, fuel in the fire she did not know burned there in her gut, where bloomed babies who in the looming exchange are currency, the very reason her ferocity does not blind but sharpens her eye, her aim, her resolve. That she will have to make bodies lie down, but not hers, if she is to have any hope of prying the pistol from her young son's hand, if she is to have any hope of her baby seeing light again, if she is to have any hope. This is Crow Murder Crow. Now, crow. Clever feather glints so black it's no longer black, but instead shines green like want. And maybe that's why he covets what shines, what reeks, what feels lost to another once it is gone. Noun, verb, murder. They show up black tie, noisy, dressed to kill. But did that one crow on the branch above me actually kill the little black cat whose head it dropped to crack on the ground at my feet, not 3 minutes after a man asked me to keep an eye out for his lost black cat? Or did the crow overhear and bring the coyote damp head as an answer to this man's loss, so that the hole in his family could fill in with a flood that would gradually subside instead of staying empty from not knowing? When I run across the new topography after yesterday's storm, where new rivers careened down from the ridge, making deep ravines that branch smaller and smaller until they are like a drained vascular system laid on the Earth's surface. I think it looks like the dried out rivulets of the American West that thirst for another storm, and I wonder if this is what the world looks like to a crow in search of shiny treasures. Verb, crow. Shouts and laughter I misinterpreted for too long. Maybe sometimes they tell stories to remember the way through the changed landscape, all those new ravines. Maybe when someone says earth-shattering, they don't really mean the damage to the land itself, but to the things they love that drag their small lives across it. Thank you. And one more. This one's called 3 Mississippi. 1 Mississippi. When I first became lightning, I was driving to pick up my son. The world went impossibly bright. No time to count the seconds, to wonder who would bring my child home, before the heavens came crashing. In that nanosecond of life inside light, deafened and blinded, when I guessed I was dead, 1,000 thoughts crowded of all the things left undone. The syrup bottle on the counter, the dog waiting next to his leash, all the words not laid inside the soft shells of my children's ears. For hours, the smell and taste of ozone, my trembling hands, reminded me that I had been placed back into myself by powers far beyond my own, and I was grateful to put away the syrup, to clip leash to collar, to whisper over the sleeping cocoons of my boys. 2 Mississippi. The second time I became lightning, my dog led me beyond the trees. The clouds had grown necrotic and eerie, dropping low as they spiraled upward. I called to Atlas and we hurried down from the balded ridge, away from what brewed. We hadn't yet reached the low ground when everything popped into brightness, its intensity too much to comprehend. There still wasn't time to count before the heavens cracked open, sending Atlas crying to my feet. But this time, in front of x-rayed tree trunks, I saw a miracle. An orb where lightning stabbed down from the sky and snaked up from the earth, meeting midair, as though summoned by the branches, conjured by the wizarding elements. The electric scent of ozone made me think, the idea of dying this way, not by storm, but in a magical flash, a sudden bolt that outruns pain and outlasts time in its fractional existence, might be the best way to leave my body, the waning cavern of my body. 3 Mississippi. The last time I become lightning, I want it to be like this. When my sons are strong and weathered, like the stones that form that ridge. When maybe most of all those undone things have been crossed off, and Atlas and all the dogs that will come after him have gone to hold up the heavens as they wait for us to return to them. Then, in a brilliant burst, my soul takes flight. Out of time, I am released into 1 billion particles of light.
Thank you. That was such a fantastic way to end this portion of the evening. A few years ago, maybe 3 at this point, because, time is a construct, I had the pleasure of hearing Broderick Eaton in the Commons at one of these open mics read some of those poems. And I remember her saying that she hadn't written in forever, and I just felt so upset that it came so easy to her. And I just want to apologize formally that poetry is not easy, life is not easy, and thank you all for making it look that way so that others of us feel like we have a chance at trying it ourselves, which is what we're doing here tonight. So thank you for that. I also want to say that Broderick Eaton just published that chapter from which she read, so congratulations to her on that. Please get in touch with her as to how you can obtain a copy, and we will get one at the library here very soon. Okay, we are concluding this portion of the evening. Thank you to all of our poets one more time for sharing your work. I look forward to hearing from you all again very soon, and hopefully sooner than next year's contest, though please, we do invite repeat winners. Okay, if anyone needs to head out, we understand, and we plead with you. Drive safe, the roads are awful, but we're so happy to be here tonight. We are going to move into the next portion of the night with our open mic, and so I'm going to read off the names I currently have, and then I'm actually going to bring this off the stage, as I promised I would, and allow anyone else who's been inspired to share. You will have your chance. But first up, we have Cameron. On deck then is Linda, and then Kiyomi after that. So please join me in welcoming up Cameron Crow for our open mic.
Trying to figure out what I would read tonight got really easy when I wasn't notified I was a winner. I just figured I'd read my entries. And you can see why they didn't quite get in. Number one, I submitted 3. Number 1 is called Someday Seeker. This poem structure, when you attend readings of other poets, you get to hear different forms of poetry. And one of them, and I don't know what it's called, uses several of the same words in the first stanza, in the second stanza, and the third. But you have to use them in different ways, and the whole thing still has to make sense. So I hope I got there. Someday Seeker. In the desert of my shadows lurks a hopeful expectation. Someday I will find what I lost long ago. The shadows of my somedays hold my expectations hostage to desert days when darkness was the only sun I found. In the shadows of my desert, some days are my expectations. Today, uneasy balance between what was and what might be. Thank you. One of the things I discovered when I first started writing poetry is the events and the experiences we have that motivate us to write or inspire us to write aren't always happy ones. So this is called Don't Talk to Strangers. I stand within reach of his arms, breathing in short gasps as I struggle to not take in the only thing he ever gave freely, the stale odor of burnt tobacco and too few baths that push me away from the stranger I call Dad. In my mind, I see the rejoining of two kindred spirits who share genes and 17 years of living under the same roof. His sinewy arms will hold me close, and his heart will finally open about the years between today and the morning he left me behind. His harsh voice will soften as he asks what I've been doing since. This time, he'll listen while I pour out the pain of all the months without him that now outnumber the ones where he was present. Together, we'll share a few tastes of the days spent apart. The bitterness of cold coffee, salt of honest sweat, and the sweetness of marshmallow moments that melt in the fire of a father's promise to always be there. but his embrace is awkward, like a teenager's first kiss. His wooden arms fall away like always, as his voice returns to the last warning he left ringing in my head. Don't talk to strangers. I had a dear friend that died almost 10 years ago now, and I had the privilege of knowing her right after I moved to Central Oregon in the early 80s, and then we lost touch as our lives diverged and went on different paths. And when I got together with her again in 2010, she was older. I guess we were both older. She had kids now where she hadn't had before, and she'd been divorced from her third husband, which is an experience that you don't want to have to go through. But she had also been fighting cancer for several years at the point where we got back together, and I was privileged to know her for the last 3 of those years in a closer way than I had before, and I learned so much from her. And this poem is an attempt to speak for her and what she might have thought or said if she'd still been able to speak at the end of her life. And the title of this poem is Hope. Sunrise, a baby's cry, my next breath. As the leaves turn from summer to fall, I wonder if today is the last one I'll see before the light dims down the long hall. The pain lives and breathes within me, taking on a life of its own. I wonder if it realizes that without me, it is nothing. I am its world, as it is mine. We have only each other. The shadows that come and go in the corridors outside my room see only my body lying still. Know nothing of the battle within, to hold on, to let go, to find some measure of peace between the two. The membrane between the world I have fought to stay in these last 7 years and my next destination is giving way to resignation as I understand that death, like birth, leaves us hoping for more than we are or ever dreamed of being. My sons, my daughters, my legacy will go on discovering their own truths outside my presence, as they were always meant to do. I've played the roles I was called to, in faith that how I did, what I did, mattered. Time will tell. And I thank you for the gift of your presence in this moment.
Thank you, Cameron. Up next, we have Linda.
Definitely shorter than Cameron.
Only in stature, not in poetry.
What I have noticed recently with new poets is that they're very modern. And I feel like mine are kind of old-fashioned, partly because the ones I've got tonight were written 20 years ago or so. Back then, my my muse got in touch with me and challenged me to write something for every month. And so this is November. November night. November fog, blanket tight, hugs the earth in dark delight. Misty orange street lamps light the hidden fairy camps. Dripping ivy, bowing fern, for the midnight dance they yearn. Bare black branches, silken singing, last stubborn leaf clinging. Muffled mysteries in velvet stream, fogs opaque, autumnal dream. Magic. This was a poem I wrote thinking of my children. I have woven magic into the bones of my children. Each answer I gave was a magic thread laid down to form an aspect of their personality. Each experience, good or otherwise, given or allowed, was a thread woven into the magic of emerging personhood. What enchantments and spells are with them still? Do they struggle against some binding line thoughtlessly laid upon growing shoulders? Perhaps, and I hope most of those magic threads woven together have been elastic enough to be reformed by them to fit their needs and hold them in safety and comfort of being. We parents, wizards and sorceresses, are weavers of magic, laying our spells and enchantments deep in the bone by nature and nurture. May the blessing upon us be sight and wisdom, that the magic we can't help but give, that what we have woven and weave will work to the highest good of them our spells touch. Thread of the hero path. A world, a jumble in time and space, a journey, a search for a solid place to stand and understand, to see and see through, mirror image reflecting back, looking within, mindscapes transformed by rainbow treasures, assimilation, accommodation of new ideas and thoughts, the eyes of mythic spirit to save from literalized relationships, rigidified beliefs. The thread of the path goes out into open places, not at all solid, but liquid with change. Discovery, paradox. The solid thing is change. The soul, an elastic crucible of knowledge and experience, transduced impulses, image to symbol, internal plight converted to story, courage to creativity, follow the thread of the hero path to where there is room for things to be and things to happen.
Thank you, Linda. I want to honor what you said about modern poetry and remind everyone that poetry and any other form of art always builds on the foundation given to us by the ones who came before. There's very little that spontaneously erupts out of nothing. Everything has some way it began. So thank you for sharing your poetry tonight, and thank you for the little ones who are here, who are sharing their poems, and who knows what they'll be writing in the next 40 years. So really looking forward to seeing that, but thank you for your words, Linda. Okay, I'm gonna adjust the mic, and we're gonna bring up Kiyomi. Kiyomi is next.
Well, good evening. My name is Kiyomi Appleton Gaines. I am a freelance and fiction writer newly arrived in Bend. And now, as I say, for something completely different. First, congratulations to the poetry contest winners tonight, and thank you all who shared your beautiful, beautiful poems this evening. I really have enjoyed getting to listen to them. So this is an epistolary short story that I'm going to read, inspired by the Sun, Moon, and Talia, which is one of the oldest versions of Sleeping Beauty that has come down to us, as well as being inspired by the letters of the wives of Henry VIII. This is called Talia's Queen. My lord, king, and husband, though you have put me aside and confined me to these estates, know that I humbly accept your wisdom and obey your decrees in these as in all matters. I pray only for your majesty's health and happiness, and hope that you may yet remember the happiness we shared together so recently. The love I bear you has never waned nor shall. In my clumsy seeking to know more of the young woman brought so recently to court, I wished only to please you, that I might love as you do and extend every warmth and welcome and the good charity that your highness and your kingdom have always been known for, and in my meager ability to extend the hospitality of your grace's court to all your favored guests. I see that in your wisdom you have separated me now for this time, though in my smallness of mind I am unable to comprehend your noble thoughts. I mean neither to rebuke nor question your rights, and humbly accept your grace's commands, but I beg you to educate me where I have erred. I await your letter with eagerness and affection, and remain your most loyal and loving servant, the Queen. Most noble lord, my beloved husband and king, I have heard strange reports of the young woman who so recently has joined the court. I do not say that I believe them, nor wish to repeat any slander, but only to faithfully report to you and seek your good counsel in this matter. It has been told me that in your most recent and successful campaign, your company came upon an abandoned tower, and in that tower found an entire court of lords and ladies at table, all in deepest slumber, covered in dust and cobwebbed. It has been said, upon climbing to the top of that tower, one among your number did chance to find a little room, locked, and on opening the door found a most beautiful young woman, also asleep. This man, it was said, and I seek your instruction on what I must make of these matters, this man was taken by the woman's beauty and immediately fell upon him, or upon her, in the raptures of his great affection. He was as a man bewitched. No, I forget myself, my dear husband, and know that you will forgive me my feminine weakness. There was no witchcraft, nor any mention of it. No, it was told me that the man seemed not himself, in a daze, as if he too might slip into a deep slumber if allowed to remain in that place, so his companions withdrew and brought him out again. It was said these occurrences were a year and more ago, as I said, in your last campaign. I humbly beg your advice and guidance in this matter. I ask also that you would have my furs and my heavy cloak sent, as the cold is beginning to set in here, though I am ready at your soonest pleasure to return to court and to your side where it is my fondest wish to be. Until then, I remain your most obedient servant, the Queen. My dearest Lord and King, I beg you to remember the friendship of our earlier days and to recall the love you once bore me, that I continue unceasingly to have for you. You raised me from such lowly estate and laid upon me such honors as to grant me titles and lands of my own, unsought and unrequested, and to call me lady and to name me queen, and most precious to me, give me the title of your most beloved wife. If ever you have loved the name of your forlorn and sorrowful wife, if ever any humble word or deed of mine has brought you any joy or bestowed any mirth on your noble personage, I beg you now to consider these ugly and vicious rumors in light of the friendship we so recently shared. Any child of your grace, even though it be not my own, is precious to me for that noble and beloved parentage. Yet I have not seen the woman at all these long months of my seclusion, and certainly never have sought to harm or injure her children. It pains me, I will not lie, to know that her children are also yours. Yet I love them for it as I love you, and will welcome them at court with all the warmth and affection that are owed as your own when you will have me return, which it is my fondest wish to do. I know that the tower happened upon by your company had a strangeness about it, and I bear you no resentment nor reproach for any happenings on the occasion of battle. But what strangeness has there been here in our own country estates, where we have long walked side by side among our own beloved hills? What strangeness to compel any woman to order a child cooked as meat, as it is so cruelly rumored of me? In your recent absence, may I be judged if I write untruthfully, I have never set foot at court, and though I may yet have some few friends in your company, and though I pray they may remind you of our happier days, they do not write to me, which I would never desire them to do if it might bring you the least displeasure, as surely their greater duty and friendship are owed to your grace, whose love and generosity make all our joys complete. I swear to you that I do not know what has become of the child. I pray for its safe and healthy return to you and to its mother. I pray you remember your faithful and loyal and loving wife, and allow me to return that I may defend myself against the slanderers who have sought to make me odious in your eyes. I pray you put aside the simple desires of the flesh and remember your true companion and friend. I am ever your most loyal and obedient servant, and your most devoted and loving subject, the Queen. Most noble King and husband, dearest to me of all mankind, my good Lord, you know these things said of me to be despicable lies. You must know the impossibility of such cruelty to be in the nature of one you once held in such affection. Further, you must know the impossibility of my travel from my place here to court and back again, and to undertake such a journey unnoticed, and to steal away and to murder your children in secret, and further, to conspire to have them served at your table. Your grace will know the utter impossibility of such an undertaking, even were such not abhorrent to me and sickening even to write of. Yet still, if I am indeed guilty of such heinous crimes as I have been accused, let me be brought before the open court and have my guilt laid plain before all. Let the evidence against me be made clear and my guilt be made known, or let my innocence be proven. Your Majesty will show yourself a just and even-handed ruler, even as I have always known you to be. And either you will see my innocence and expose those who have slandered my name, the name you have raised up, or my guilt will be established for all to see. I will accept any lawful ruling, only let me stand trial as any faithful and loyal subject might expect. If ever my name has brought you joy, or if you have gained a moment's comfort from my company, I ask you to grant my humble request. Only if your heart has been so turned and hardened against me in these long, few though they have been, to me they have been long months, I pray only that you will not be held to full account for the grievous sin you commit in such cruel usage of your pitiable wife. I am told the young woman seeks my death at the stake. I will not curse the name of Talia even now, for your sake and for the sake of the love we have shared. Only let an archer be brought, that my suffering may not be prolonged. On behalf of my household, I seek their wages and release or good reference as they may prefer. I await your word and remain your most faithful, loyal, and obedient wife, the Queen.
Thank you, Kiyomi. That was fantastic. All right, up next we have our last quote of the night, unless I hear otherwise. Linda Sather, I welcome you to the stage.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you very much. I'm Linda Sather, and I've really enjoyed the readings tonight. I'm a member of the Central Oregon Writers Guild and also a Easy Writers Critique group here that meets here in Redmond. So if there are any prose writers here that are interested in a critique group, come and see me or Amanda, who forced me to be here tonight and read this. I'm going to change the ambiance a little bit and tell you it's okay to laugh, please. My short story is called It's All Relative. Oh my God, I didn't bring my reading glasses up here. Amanda, could you bring my purse and my glasses are in there? This is what happens when you get older. I can fake it. Sorry about that. See, wasn't that funny? It's all relative. Knowing the importance of always hiking with a buddy, I called around last month to find one. Turns out Jennifer was busy alphabetizing the spices. Becky had to take her Turns out Jennifer was busy alphabetizing the spices. Becca had to take her gerbil to the groomers. It was Mary's turn to host the agoraphobia group. Then I remembered a gal named Susie I met in April at Becca's Cinco de Mayo party. Over sushi and chili, she said she was getting tired of ballet and would like to try hiking. I scribbled her phone number on an old bookmark stuck between pages 23 and 24 of War and Peace. I'd taken it to the party to impress Becca's brainy friend Peter, but he never showed up, and I'd never read the book. Even Becca's cheap wine proved more entertaining than Tolstoy. Anyway, Susie was thrilled at my suggestion we take a hike. For our first excursion, we hiked Old Baldy. What a view, I called down from the summit to encourage her to scramble the last few hundred yards. You can see for miles. On the way home, we stopped so she could buy hiking poles and an ace bandage. I decided to reduce the distance on our next hike by going directly down the canyon instead of taking the long way around. Faced with several unexpected, but totally fun drops down the dry wash, I showed her how to slide down the sheer rock on her butt. We completed the hike in record time, but to the detriment of her old and, I must say, rather flimsy shorts. She now wears canvas shorts designed for Army Rangers. Susie was thrilled with last week's hike in the mountains towering above town. The trail was only 5 miles long, not counting the extra mile or so it took for us to find where we parked the car. Who knew all those streets leading to the trailhead looked alike? It was as hot as a crematory oven inside the car when I finally found the keys in the bottom of my pack and unlocked the door. I keep forgetting to get the air conditioning fixed, I said as Susie fiddled in vain with the knobs. But never mind, people pay good money to take a sauna at the gym. This one's free. She unrolled the window and guzzled the last of the warm water in the gallon jug she'd taken to carrying after fainting from dehydration on an earlier hike. I didn't want Susie to feel our hikes were getting too strenuous or too expensive. So I planned today's hike along a mellow zigzag trail down a dry creek bed, the kind of creek that when you skipped a rock, the dust puffed from it. It would only have water in it when it rained, and this was, after all, the desert. I picked Susie up in the new rental car the garage had loaned me when I took my own in to get the AC fixed. Naturally, they found a few other things they said needed replacement. Something about an alternator belt and worn-out brakes, which is exactly why I don't go to the doctor anymore, ever since I went to the clinic for a stomach ache and came out of the hospital 2 days later with my appendix out and a whooping hospital bill. Susie and I drove along the highway singing along with the rock and roll blaring from the radio. Well, I was singing. Susie just kept turning the volume up to the point where it was drowning me out, but I was too polite to say anything. I just sang louder. When the song was over, I glanced over. Susie had one eye on Google Maps and the other on the dark clouds unexpectedly gathering ahead. I don't suppose those shoes are waterproof, I asked nonchalantly as I glanced down at her feet. No? Well, never mind. I'm glad you're using that moleskin I recommended. You'll hardly notice those blisters. Not for nothing had I spent 12 years in the Girl Scouts, mostly making papier-mâché placemats and lanyards, true. But I did earn the outdoor badge after camping all night, well, part of the night, in the leader's backyard. We missed the opening of Johnny Carson's show, but got the badge anyway. The turnoff should be around here somewhere. Yep, here it is. I braked hard and turned right onto a dirt road. The semi-truck behind swerved to pass, horn blaring. I don't know why he's so pissy, I said, giving him the finger. There was plenty of room for oncoming traffic on the shoulder. Susie released her death grip on the car's armrest and retrieved her phone, which had fallen on the floor. I thought you weren't supposed to take the rental on dirt roads, she said shakily. Oh, a quick run through the car wash and we'll never know, I replied airily as the rental car bounced over the gravel and a few larger rocks scraped the undercarriage. 5 miles later, tired of hearing mostly static, Susie turned the radio off with what seemed like relief. You've been here before, right? She asked. Sure, Becca and I hiked the trail only last year. I thought it was better marked. Guess not. How is Becca? Susie asked. I haven't seen her in a while, I shrugged. She's been busy scrubbing the shower grout. The day was cooler than expected, which I told Susie was a good thing, as she wouldn't have to worry about getting heat stroke like she had before. Still, she kept casting envious glances at my hiking pants with legs that could be zipped off when the day warmed up. Wearing shorts, even with the car heater blaring, she had goosebumps up her bare legs. You said it'd be in the 70s today, she commented. I'm freezing. I glanced at the newfangled dashboard. It's already 68. That's the heater, she said dryly. Never mind, you'll warm up once we start hiking. To take her mind off the smattering of raindrops on the windshield, I asked her to check the temperature in Fairbanks, Alaska, my hometown. She tapped a few keys between bumps. It's only 27 degrees. They must be freezing. 27 degrees? That's a heat wave up there for Fairbanks in February. Brr, she gave an exaggerated shiver. Or maybe it wasn't exaggerated. Wait a minute, I said. Is that 27 degrees above zero? What else would it be? Check again. Oh my God. There's a little dash before the number. 27 below, I observed. Now that's cold. I parked at the trailhead and we got out of the car. Always be prepared, I said cheerily as I loaned her the nifty poncho I always carried. Trying to wrap the flapping plastic around her, she looked like a pigeon trying to gain traction in a headwind. That'll keep you warmer, I said, hoping to soothe her ruffled feathers. She hopped over the water running down the creek bed without answering. Want to do the bump and grind trail next week, I asked when I caught up. Sorry, Susie said. I need to schedule a root canal.
Thank you. That was fantastic. I really feel I can't complain about the weather outside being 20 degrees and it could be negative, but I'm going to. So, thank you, Linda. Up next, we have Brooke Stableford, who's going to join us on stage.
Evening, everybody. All the way up. Hey there, Brooks Stableford, and I moved here this summer from, all right, there we go. I'm Brooks Stableford. I moved here this summer from Boulder, Colorado. And so my poems I'll read this evening are from the arid altitude landscapes of Colorado, in particular the San Luis Valley, which is in southern Colorado, the largest alpine valley in the world, where they even grow quinoa because it matches the climate of Peru. Although this poem I'll start with is actually, I went backpacking around January 27th. At the end of January, we often have a thaw, and I was having shorts and a t-shirt, yet the stream was frozen down in a canyon, and it really struck me. So this poem is called Has Time Stopped? Has time stopped? How can it be that the squirrel's pinecone remnants lay scattered, still, on the contoured surface of the frozen stream, not washed away? In this Ponderosa-lined canyon, I wonder if time has stopped, the stream still. A passing raven now on a branch, clacking its wings downstream, a silent songbird flapping by. Bird chirps upstream, echoing the quiet burbling under the ice, and the calming breath of the wind as it lingers to smell the ponderosas before being quickly on its way, offer a differing perspective. Applause. This poem is called Sunset Over Blue Sky. Less is more on a western plain, high in the sagebrush steppe, where cold wind chaps my cheeks, or parching desert sun and altitude sun. Or parching desert heat and altitude sun bake my torso. I feel free, and my lungs expand into the open valley. I can breathe. Finally, I feel relief under sunset over blue sky. This song in particular is from the San Luis Valley, a high-altitude desert valley, and the hillsides go up towards the Sangre de Cristo mountain range, and it's a place that's really important for me to go back to. And I actually wrote this poem at an art exhibit at the Denver Art Museum, so it starts out describing a bit of the setting there, where they're inspiring visitors to create some art. Practice paper, postcards, stamps, and pencils. An invitation to explore one's memories and wanderlust. A paper realization of inspiration and freeness felt in natural expanses. Where stars fall from the sky or moonlit sagebrush shadows and barbed wire pulls taut at noon. Its wire twists ripping at my heart like yucca at my soul. May I stay? This is my final poem, also written about, kind of reflecting, portraying my very special connection I have with the arid American West, many of us enjoy here in Central Oregon. Converging train tracks, sparks, coal cinders, basalt bed, dust, and deafening clanks as I choke on up-kicked dust. A railroad heads west, due west, where the bison roamed as civilization built around train tracks on desolate expanses, where yucca may be the only company, the perfect math of their woody blooms, triangular symmetric perfection, a mine shaft on the hill. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Oh, come on. So much better.
since before the pandemic, so I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. This is called Unnamed, in parentheses. Ask me my name and I might tell you. To turn toward the leaves, listen to their husk and mumble. Stand over the plunge of the river. Lose yourself in the slick fear crawling down your limbs, or pull at the throaty sounds hulled between stone and root under a log that once stood, straight and mighty, sweeping the sky. Hear the hush and push of lifting wing, the vanishing miracle of flight, carved by an arrow of starlings. Find a word for filtered light, sifting through capillary petals. Capture the sound of unsettled wind, carding the sinews of dried grasses. Try to describe the way darkness curves its somber path around the moon. Whatever you call the least of these, this is what you may call me, too. Thank you.
This is where you stand tall.
Yeah.
It's hard being a 5-foot person in a 6-foot world. Sky poetry. Feathered calligraphy, flying cursive across slate blue air. Wingtip to wingtip, dip, dive, dance of perfect timing. Explosion, upward, falter, question mark? Recovery, exclamation point. Such joy of poetic motion. Soon they will calligraphy south. Snow will erase their gentle cursive, replacing it with its own signature upon the slate blue air.
So sorry for this. Well, I say I'm 6 foot, but I'm probably 5'11", so. Hot take, reading from your phone is dumb.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right on.
Yeah.
Talking to you.
Say cerebrum juice or
Cerebrum sauce. This poem is called From Stone Comes Dirt, and it was written for a gathering that I was at back in April in Yosemite with farmers and climber folk, and so this is the first light of day. From Stone Comes Dirt. My palm, your palm, gathered in the soil, fingers prehensile and cracking turgid stems of purple probing for the orange root courage. My teeth, your teeth, our tongues, chomp chomp, savor savor, succulent leaves and exploding berries, their flavor rooted in insect-aided plant sex. Que romantica, que rico, this lowering sun and rising shadow play, the mouthfeel of leafy scenes shared and gifted by cooling drafts and cricket legs. My fingers, your fingers, stack and twist into long fractures, a slim cord between us. I climb, you climb, we ascend into altered states. Look, our past selves were just down there. And now, find the easy breath. Fingers crimp, hips out, toes pull in. Push down until crystals push back sharp and and sensual until friction feels like magic and a top is found with Dudleya and oak and paintbrush. Here too there is soil. Here too there is life shining, shrieking, soaring, scurrying, celebrating. And so, lowering down, I know that in eternity, million years, this stone will form the dirt that yields my fruit. Thanks.
Of it and then read from her phone.
I know.
From the
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Reimer. I teach at OSU Cascades, and thank you. I have this book that just came out, and Anna and I are actually going to read from it tomorrow night at OSU Cascades. If you don't have anything better to do, come over to campus, 5 to 7 p.m., free food, free drinks on behalf of the university. Copies of this book for sale. But since we ended up in the same place, we're gonna practice on you guys and practice a poem from this book that we're gonna read tomorrow night. The name of this book is called Keşke. It's a Turkish word. I lived and worked in Turkey for 5 years. I don't have a genetic connection to Turkey. I am not Turkish myself, and although this book was written during my time in Turkey, not attempting to speak for Turkish people. A lot of it was written in the aftermath of the military coup attempt in the summer of 2016. And the word keşke is a Turkish word, and it means if only, if you want to translate it into English. And if you hear a different language in this poem, that language is Turkish. We're gonna do this, right?
Yeah. You want to read the title?
Yeah. This one is called 52 Albany Street. I've never been very good at being consistent. What are you most consistent at?
Is a question you can't answer. Through the window, seagulls. 2 days before your 36th birthday, the Turkish word of the day.
Hastasa olmak.
To be crazy about. On 52 Albany Street.
You tilt the camera to portrait mode. Hold it extremely close.
St. Andrew's Square, fairy lights and gin. On the day before, the Turkish word of the day is
Birisimini ekmek.
To stand someone up.
I want to capture, but landscape mode does not seem relevant here.
You're still thinking about macro mode to only have
that super narrow slice.
Fruit Market Gallery where you didn't see the Mexican artists from DF. And don't get me started on Mexico City. At midnight and all that bullshit, and the Turkish word of the day, your birthday is
Gerçek.
Truth. You wonder about plurals. True or false? Embrace just half-truths. True. You're still holding
Keşke.
False.
I have almost no light. Tutkulu bir fotoğrafçıyım.
Shows up a few days later.
I'm a passionate photographer.
True. You almost always say, you changed the reservation anyway. Because there are no candles, you forget to wish. What would have been?
Keşke.
When you wake up the next day,
a foamy wave reaching towards the lens.
The Turkish word of the day looks like
his.
Feelings. False. Sample sentence.
Hislerimiz hakkında konuşmamız gerek.
We need to talk about our feelings.
But the endless sea and darkening sky.
It's 10:36 a.m. on a Tuesday in August, and at 52 Albany Street, the rain falls softly, and softly falls upon all the Northern Renaissance. Stone and you still don't understand a alliterative verse, or how to talk about whiskey, or where to go next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coming back up.
Risked my life to show off right there. It was pretty fun. So help me understand, if I speak in, it's pretty booming. Is this also loud enough? What's better for you? Right here? Okay, great. So I just was inspired to read some poems many of you might remember from the great Shel Silverstein. And I just thought I'd read something fun up here. We'll have a good time. Anyone else love Shel Silverstein or read him when you were a kid? All right, let's give it up for Shel! All right. Bet the guy was an incredibly introvert kook. Love it. Not that I am. So this song is Invitation. If you are a dreamer, come in. If you are a dreamer, a wisher, a liar, a hoper, a prayer, a magic bean buyer. If you're a pretender, come sit by my fire, for we have some flax golden tales to spin. Come in, come in. Give it up for Shel. Falling up. I tripped on my shoelace, and I fell up to the rooftops. Up over the town, up past the treetops, up over the mountains, up where the colors blend into the sounds. But it got me so dizzy. When I looked around, I got sick to my stomach and I threw down. Put something in. Draw a crazy picture, write a nutty poem, sing a mumble gumble song, whistle through your comb, do a loony goony dance, cross the kitchen floor, put something silly in the world that ain't been there before. Yeah! Thank you very much. Have a good night.
All right, my poets. This has been a night to remember. Thank you so very much for being here tonight. By the Deschutes Public Library, OSU Cascades Low Residency Program, and the Source Weekly. We invite you to please grab a copy of the Source's poetry edition. It's available on the back table. Also grab an event guide on your way out, and please leave us a note at deschuteslibrary.org. Tell us how wonderful tonight was, and don't forget, while you're there, check out everything else that we have to offer. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Everyone, stay safe out there. We'll see you again soon.